some more demands came in, then it collapsed. Now we have transformed to something else.
Yes.
One party is now out of the talks, then another party is still holding on it.
Yes.
Now, you look at both parties, actually, one party is playing a delay game, is using bipartisan talks as a delay game. Because at first, you see, the government requested 90 days before the talks begin. The other party requested 30 days. Now, from where I sit, one party is using bipartisan as a delay game. Another party is wants to use bipartisan to enhance their relevancy in our political game currently.
But when you look at the, wait for you gentlemen exactly what Opiyo Wandayi did say, essentially when they were pulling out of the talks. I want you to listen to this, Nabiswa Brand, that the cost of living has been part of the demands from the get-go. That was part of the agenda to sit down for those bipartisan talks. And here I am, that if you look at some of the reasons that Opiyo Wandayi essentially went through and say, and quote unquote, it is also our position that the finance bill as presently crafted must be withdrawn and replaced by a bill that appreciates the suffering the people of Kenya of Kenya are going through. Indeed, Azimio members of parliament have resolved to sign a public pledge to oppose the bill, awaiting its withdrawal. Would you say that indeed from the get-go, Nabiswa Brand, they were saying, well, please do not implement this bill if essentially you want us to go on with those talks?
He's right.
Yes.
But the problem is, when they come in public, they tell us what we want to hear. They'll come in public, they're telling us, yes, actually, the first thing we need is to sort out the cost of living, and now they tell us we want to reconsider the finance bill. But when they go back in the boardroom, they are giving priority some other things which are not more relevant, yes, to us like Kenyans.
Yes. Nabiswa, what are those things that you would say that they're giving priority that do not have relevance to majority of Kenyans?
Okay, true, we know. I happened to listen to Nairobi Senator, the one Sifuna.
Yes.
You know, the first thing is that they requested to stop Iebc, reconstruct the panel which is mandated to form the Iebc commissioners as the first priority, and carrying out the audit in our election servers. Actually, as of now, I doubt, or I don't think there is any Kenyan who is really concerned, apart from the political class, who is concerned about auditing the presidential results.
Would you say that, Dr. Mange, that there's no Kenyan currently who's not concerned about the auditing the presidential results or the Iebc service?
Well, I wouldn't say that there is no Kenya.
Yes.
Because those people in Azimio who are asking are Kenyans. So
Nabiswa,
they are Kenyans to, yes, the extent that
yes,
from the political class.
Uh-huh.
From the political class, because they know it's within their interest. But now look at that Wanjiku, Wafula, or Otieno,
yes,
somewhere, who is sleeping angry, opening the servers. How are the servers going to help him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's more concerned about how the cost of living will go down.
What about those Kenyans who voted the other side? Don't you think that they are also interested in knowing if they're getting told that the results didn't come out the way you guys voted? Don't you think they're interested in knowing what the outcome was?
As Kenyans, we voted. We voted, but we were not sure. Even when the results were announced, we were not sure. But now, when we went to the Supreme Court, the whole around 2 to 3 weeks, we were in the Supreme Court. Every Kenyan was following. It was in every media, everywhere. Every Kenyan was following how the process was going through in the Supreme Court. Now, after the ruling, actually, any Kenyan who voted and he followed his political side, saying that, oh, we lost because it has been stolen from us, he wanted to see where okay, where have these guys stolen from us? But it was not proved. 6 months after the ruling, we saw, yeah, it's okay. Maybe we lost. Because also, the people who lost, they had everything at their disposal. Because in 2013, 2017, we have been supporting. Let me say we supported CORD.
Yes.
They told the system has stolen our election.
Yes.
In 2017, we were told we lost because we didn't have the deep state.
Yes.
Now, this time, the deep state was there.
Yes.
Now,
Nabiswa, we're going to look at exactly what those demands are. Just before we get to the opening of Iebc servers, Dr. Mwangi, I want to read for you the same extract here by Opinion Wandanyi, who saying, well, that when we came to the bipartisan talks, part of those demands were on the cost of living. And we told them the only way that we're going to continue with these talks is if you don't implement this finance bill, which now, as we speak, is an act, despite the conservatory orders then, but the High Court stopping the government from implementing that. Now, Opinion Wandanyi says, but they went ahead, knowing very well that they would win in a parliamentary process and continued to implement that particular bill, which we cautioned them against implementing. This is a question that somebody is asking. You're here complaining about the implementation of the finance bill, but did it not go through a constitutional process, that Kenyans had their say on it, there was public participation on it, that there was parliamentary participation on it, to the point when it was assented into an act? Why would that feel like something wrong for the Azimio side?
Well, cost of living, which is in the finance bill.
Yes.
Once the Finance Act, it's now an act, gets implemented, not only will the cost of living be as high as it is, but it is going to go even higher. I think if you go back to the basic, what were the demands? Within 30 days of the talks,
yes,
the cost of living should have come down. That was a demand. It was a very important demand for Kenyans and not just the Azimio side. It was very, very important.
Yes.
How many days are we into this? That demand was never listened to. It was never addressed. And the opportunity to address it is now through the finance bill. The finance bill has come. It has passed, which means that that important demand, which is important to all Kenyans, is now off the table.
Does it?
Because once you have passed the act, it means that there has been so-called public participation, which is a question that has been raised by Omtata and others, because among the clauses that were subjected to public participation, 25% of them were never there. They were sneaked in the last minute. So, in terms of the question of public participation, is a question. So, what is the real conversation? The real conversation that matters to us as Kenyans.
Yes.
I want to agree, it's not truly just the opening of the server. The important prerequisite is the cost of living. Because the cost of living is high. It should have been addressed, and it was a demand that was put on the table. Address this. The other demand was, okay, we are talking about elections.
Yes.
The last elections, contested.
Yes.
We need a fair playing field.
Yes.
Stop the whole issue of IEBC recruitment, a second important demand. And now those two, cost of living, still high, going higher. IEBC, now the government side is using a threat and saying, if you don't come to the table,
that the selection panel will
the
go on.
selection panel will continue.
How do you respond? How to respond to this question? That even as we complain about the high cost of living, the Azimio coalition had a chance through the parliamentary process and through the public participation process then to convince majority of Kenyans not to support the Finance Act.
How do you gauge that? You look at the presentations that were put to the committee. How many, for the first time, this act was subjected to a wider public participation, or the public responded than ever before. People sent presentations, and what happened? 95% of those who presented were opposed. They were opposed. So Kenyans generally, and if you do public opinion, I think those who have been polling.
Polling. Yeah, I've looked at a couple
how
of.
else do you see they have been polling?
Yes.
What is the result? Majority were opposed to it. But nevertheless, Parliament, because Parliament, let's agree that Parliament is as currently constituted.
Yes.
The way the Kenyans voted,
Dr. Mwangi,
is not the way it
yes,
is.
I'm getting told there's a tiny problem with your microphone. I want James to come in and fix that microphone. Let me pull you in, Dr. Nabiswa, as we wait to fix Dr. Mwangi's microphone. That particular question right there that we're trying to address, that indeed, even as the Azimio coalition complains about the high cost of living, that there was a process essentially covered fully by the Constitution on exactly how they were supposed to come in and stop it. But they are calling it unconstitutional. Would you say that they have a way to fight the government on this? Because as far as the implementation of the Finance Act is concerned, it went through a constitutional process.
The whole process,
yes,
you know, looking at how this the bill came into being up to the presidential assent, it went through the process, and there is a reason why now it comes to the second reading and the third reading after the committee stage, whereby the committee looks at the possible amendments, getting public participations and views. Then it comes to the Parliament. Now the Parliament, if I may put it, the committee of the whole house, whereby they will also have their view on the same. Now this bill came into Parliament, and Elijah, if I may use a case study, we have seen cases where the committees, even they have rejected a certain or voted against a certain bill and unanimously said it's a no. When it comes to the Parliament, what happens? It goes through. Like the recent one, you remember the one, the impeachment of CIA deputy
senator,
deputy governor.
Yes.
You see, the committee made a decision that the MCS rightfully impeached the deputy governor. When it came to the Senate, they voted against the committee's decision. Now, this bill came, and you see, this bill really affects the common mwananchi in a negative way. And if I may put it, you know, Elijah, if you are somewhere in a tough situation, getting out of that tough situation, you have to, there is some pain, it will be inflicted to you through that hard work and sheer for you to be in the correct place. Now, the whole issue around the finance bill, you know, if actually you look at it clearly, and our economic situation of our country, it is the only solution for us to move. It's either we ground the government is totally grounded, or we have to do some to have some sacrifices as a nation, because the same guys who are saying that this finance bill is wrong, one, they have not given an alternative up to now. They are only being so offensive towards the bill, but they have not given any alternative. Secondly, they are the same people. You remember when the salaries there was a delay in salaries for the public service. They are the first people who came out telling Kenyans even the government cannot pay salaries. They are the same people who are coming out strongly calling for the government to release and increase the county government funds. They are the same MPs from that side who are very hard on government to release CDF. Now, how is the government actually going to do all this if it doesn't have a source of revenue to finance the budget.
Nabiswa, I just want to hold your thought that we just go for a tiny break, because then that's the same question that the Azimio coalition is asking Dr. Mwangi, that fine, you went through a constitutional process, but we do know exactly how the members of parliament in the House were instructed to vote on this particular bill, that you knew from the get-go, through the optics in parliament, you would, in one way or another, win it. So we were telling you that you're doing something that we didn't want you to do. Once we come back right here on the morning brief, we do have Dr. Mwangi and Nabiswa then looking into the bipartisan talks failure, a matter that has essentially led then the Azimio coalition to call on the Sabasaba demonstration starting tomorrow. Once we come back right